what's going on, Pinball Land? Welcome. It's episode 13. That is 1-3 of the Flipping Out Pinball Podcast. With me today, Greg Bone. Greg, what's going on? More new games. What is this? Every single week, it seems like we've got some releases lately. The month of October and now November is hot. Stern Pinball throws a hat in the ring with
Dude,
the Walking
we have been busy. Damn, we've been busy.
Walking Dead Remaster. I know. And listen, not complaining about it because new pinball is always good pinball and fun for me to talk about. So,
Always.
And I really want to pick your brain on this game. And the reason that I'm saying that is you are a lot more familiar with The Walking Dead as a game than I am. It's not a game that back in the day I really paid a lot of attention to or got a lot of time on. On the opposite side of the spectrum here, it's a game that you and I know Zach many are particularly fond of. So I really want to get your opinions on this remake, this remastered approach. And before we do that, I think I would just like to get your general opinion, because for those of you that don't know, we just got off of the distributor informational call from Stern hosted by Seth Davis and John Borg. And that's where they kind of walk us through the game. They show us the art packages. They talk about the approach. They let us see the promotional video. So when all this is taking place, and it usually takes place over, about 15, 20 minutes, why don't you walk me a little bit through what was going through your head, and then we can discuss the game, give a little bit of inside baseball, and we can finish up with some of the stronger talking points.
First of all, I was kind of disappointed in a certain thing, and that it didn't turn out to be true. And we discussed it last time that I'd heard a rumor that it was going to be called The Walking Dead Revived.
I remember you saying that.
And it was not true. It's just Walking Dead Remastered. I kind of would have liked them to follow in that direction. I think it would have added, I mean, granted, I know there's some consistency when it's your remastered line, but I kind of would have liked it to have been, fit the game itself. Walking Dead Revived, just a lot better ring. So
are you saying there was a pinball rumor that was not true?
It's shocking, so isn't it? It's shocking, isn't it?
You need some retractions going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bullshitting. I was disappointed though, so I'm not.
Right.
But no, dude, it I kind of expected them to more go into that graphic novel graphic aspect, just because I kind of heard rumblings of that. And honestly, I'm looking very forward to that in a sense as well. I don't really like that screen grab look that the original one had, especially on the premium and stuff. So I was looking forward to that. I was a little surprised that they went as colorful as what they did on this game, but still, a pretty game, very vibrant game. I think that, and again, these are just super, before we get deep into it, just super quick impressions. I actually kind of like that back glass quite a bit better on the premium, but I'll tend to fall for that anyways. But I kind of like that barn, and you have Shane back there. You got some of the other characters that you don't get anywhere else. You got the governor, people that are big governor fan. You got the governor down the side of it, which is pretty cool looking. But yeah, pleasantly surprised, man. Like I like the updates. I like anything that's updated. One of the reasons that I really just hated that Pro so bad on the original was it was just an ugly game. It was just kind of atrocious looking. So I kind of like this upgrade and update that they did with it. Just visually, like straight out the gate.
And then that cabinet artwork is by fantasy and horror illustrator Robert Lasky.
That's interesting. Beautiful artwork. I mean, it really is. He did very well. I like his composition.
And considering the artwork done by Robert Lasky, is this a situation where you think maybe he gets into pinball and starts creating additional art packages, or do you think this is kind of a one-off because he was on point with what Stern was looking for with the direction of that graphic novel approach for The Walking Dead?
No, I mean, we kind of saw the same approach in a sense from John Wick. Like, I think that anytime this job in pinball or any other job, that when you get an opportunity like that, in a sense, it's almost an audition for future work as well. So I think a lot of it will depend on how this is received by the pinball community. I think his work is very clean. Again, I think his composition, the way his arrangement of everything looked really good. Again, like I love that back glass on that premium. I just love how those characters are coming, out from behind that barn and the way that is. And again, it's very clean. It's a nice realistic set of art, but it still holds the graphic, novel hand drawn aspect to it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's bad, man. I think we could definitely see him around, and I think Stern's always looking for new artists and stuff, especially since Zombie Yeti has kind of took a step back from actually doing games himself and more of that overall art director. They're probably looking all the time for somebody to kind of fill his shoes, or that he can guide.
So before we get into some of the specifics, we want to remind you, if you want to order your new game, you can go to flippingoutpinball.com and you can put the game in your cart. There's 500 domestic limited editions that are available on this remastered game. And then there's also a premium option that's available for purchase. If you'd like to order directly and speak to a person like myself or Greg, you can email us individually at ken@flippingoutpinball.com or greg@flippingoutpinball.com, and we can get you an invoice with a secure link for payment and get it going. I think the limited edition especially, Greg's probably going to sell out pretty quick. By the time you listen to this episode, I don't know that we'll have any in stock, but in the event that we do,
dude, and there's so much, like they're starting to load that LE up so much with stuff that it is quickly becoming a really good bang for your buck. And something that we saw added to this, Ken, if we can go ahead and dive into some details as we discuss this, they have now added external expression cabinet lights on the game, which your LE comes with. There's some laser cut, bullet trim that goes down the armor, and then that is all expression lighting down the outside of your cabinet, so it can make the bullets, I guess, look like they're firing off or so forth, and add different color effects to it, and it's completely independent from the expression lights on the inside of your cabinet that we've kind of become accustomed to. And then there's the Invisiglass, the shaker motor, the expression speaker lights. You got your powder coated trim, the mirror back glass. I mean, there's honestly so much now on these LEs that it does get kind of hard to like shy away from them.
Right. If you do end up with the premium version of this game, the expression lighting interior exterior kit will be an option for you. And going forward with Spike 3, the pros will also have that option as well. So they're no longer going to nitpick which models are going to receive which the capability for the expression lighting kits, which I think are good. There's a little bit of a cabinet design redesign that we're seeing on this Spike 3 cabinet too, with kind of replacement of the hinge bolts. They've slimmed down the hinges a little bit. Weight and everything should feel the same. But
and they said that they did that hinge redesign and stuff. So part of that was for easy access. I think for people wanting to install armor, wanting to install these external expression lights and so forth, it made it easier so that you're not trying to work around a hinge. It looks like, your couple of screws remove the armor instead of battling that back screw or whatever, the hinge itself in your way and everything. It's just a lot easier, more user friendly to install these mods down the road on premiums and pros.
So let's take a second and just focus on the approach. And on this one, there was a lot of speculation. You brought it up a little bit earlier. You brought it up in a previous episode. Were we going to see clips from the show? Was this going to be a comic book approach? They've gone with what they're calling the graphic novel type of approach, like graphic novel artwork. And you see it present, obviously, in the exterior cabinet design. But where you notice it especially is going to be in the animations. You're bringing everything off of that SAM system and the dot matrix. You're bringing it to an LCD screen. And the way that they described this was that you are getting the clips from the show, but they've been artistically painted over to stay within that graphic novel type design. Curious to get your feedback on that, because I've always been one to appreciate graphic novel kind of artwork and that type of a design. How do you think that it works with the animations on this game?
I like it because the thing is with that is I enjoy it because to me it's a little cleaner. Your art team and your graphic designers are not having to necessarily start over from scratch and just fully recreate, time, money, everything else to recreate some of these scenes in an animated form. Being able to paint over them, you're literally true to life, screen image by screen image, you're able to capture that exact moment. But again, you've artistically changed it into more of the graphic novel form, which I think you have to do, because that was one of my things that I was curious with if they went this route. How were they going to really encompass it and literally create, everything from scratch if they did that on the cabinet Playfield and had that style? How are they going to recreate that visually on the LCD screen? So I like that approach. I like the way it looks, very video game-esque in a way, but it gives that full completion to everything. It's just,
it kind of reminded me of, you said video game-esque. Remember the original Resident Evil?
Oh yeah, very much. Yeah, that's a lot
Kind
of what
reminded me
me
of that kind of a cutscene type of thing.
And it just makes everything cohesive. The whole game flows now. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, there's not stills from the show and stuff going off in a completely different color format and everything else on the LCD while you've got this vibrant cabinet. Like everything is very cohesive now. So
it is very vibrant for Walking Dead. Like that did surprise me just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not anything that I would have expected, especially with the original cabinet designs, for it to come across as a little more darker and get a refresh. It's pretty vibrant. And I know that was something that I think Seth even mentioned in the presentation, was that this is one of their more vibrant art packages.
Yeah.
On The Walking Dead.
Do you like the animations? Do you like that, to be able to go that route? Do you like the painting over aspect? Does it make sense to you? Or
it's intriguing to me. I guess that, I don't know. I mean, if I was a fan of a show, I think I would like to see some of those clips, especially now that we're working with that LCD screen versus the dot matrix.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going for a graphic novel approach, at least you've got the art inspiration literally painted over those clips, which is something that is completely unique. So you would never be able to see those clips in any other way other than playing this pinball machine. And I think that offers something that's unique. I do want to see how the animations flow in person, like in like a frames per second perspective. I don't know if they're going to be a little more choppier, if they're going to be flowy. When you're looking at something on a Zoom presentation, you're not usually not seeing the full capability of what the animation is. But it looked nice when I saw it. I just don't know, at the end of the day, and I hate to say I got to wait to see it, but I just need to see it, I think, in something that's a little more high res and something that offers me a little bit more of how those animations flow. But as you would say, I'm not mad about it.
I love that you picked up on that. It's so bad I say it too much.
Oh, I love it.
Like one of those things too that I kind of like about that is what you brought up just a little bit ago about it, is it pays homage to the original DMD. They took the original DMD animations and they've incorporated those in a more 3D updated environment on there too, and I think that would have been very hard to do with just normal clips and to have not gone this route. So I like that aspect,
that's a really good point.
Homage. Yeah, because it had some really great, dude has some of the better DMD animations in pinball at that time. I thought, like, I loved all those on there, the zombie heads, everything else. So interesting approach, but I do like it. I'm not mad.
Another thing that I was interested to hear was that John Borg did make some geometry adjustments on the actual playfield to open up some shots, to make some shots more consistent. I think the bicycle girl shot was...
Well, I expected that. Adding that flap, because that was one of the reasons that I personally enjoyed the Pro over the Premium LE, was just that the flap on that left ramp was a little problematic, and I think somebody created a mod. It was like an extension or whatever, so you had a lot smoother ball travel up that really worked. So John redesigning that flap and working on that, I kind of thought that was a given, especially with kind of some of the redesigns and some of the reworks and tweaking Metallica. I was like, that's definitely a given, but definitely, like it can go on about some of the actual geometry change a little bit. I was actually surprised about that.
I'm always glad to hear that. I mean, if you get a chance to do that, obviously you can't make major geometrical changes on a playfield because I think it probably impacts and affects a lot of other places on that same playfield. But they also talked about, and I believe they talked about, obviously Lyman sheets on this code originally, and one of the more heralded, celebrated codes at the time that kind of propelled pinball forward with how code was approached. But they've made some enhancements to the code. Is that kind of what you picked up on, or did I miss?
Yeah, they even said, I thought that they said there was even some enhanced modes, maybe additional modes in there. There was a mini wizard mode, I think, added. But I'm assuming it's going to be very much like Metallica, where that it was it really does not affect that. Where you see a change, it's nice little polishes. I won't even know if I'd call them enhancements, more of a polish.
Right.
Just
right.
dude,
You're not
because
going from like a code 2.0 or an extended
exactly.
cut. Yeah, I
I think
understand.
and again, I don't know. They didn't go into depth about that. We don't know yet. We haven't got our hands on it. But man, just Lyman, like this is still, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, just one of Zach and my favorite games. It's just so good. And the code is really what did that. I mean, Borg's layout is fantastic. It's smooth. It's brutal, but at the same time, you can achieve your task in there. It's a great challenge. But Lyman's code is just what did it. I mean, Last Man Standing, Bloodbath, just everything he put in there. And it truly was, that risk reward. It was one of those first times that we really saw that and really went in depth with a risk reward scenarios in gameplay. And I still to this day, I hailed it as almost a masterpiece in a sense. There were some flaws, and I think it being The Walking Dead, while some people flock towards that, I think that's what shied some people away from it. But I still think that it is one of the overall, between code and layout, one of the best games ever made. And I know Godzilla gets that, and Godzilla rightfully does, but I mean, Walking Dead is not far behind.
Going back to the playfield too, and some other changes, the Well Walker, which is kind of the main sculpt in the middle of the playfield, which is a bash toy. Typically on the original version, you would hit it and he would move on his own, but they made an upgrade to that movement as well, right, Greg?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. They said something about a coil in it. It looks like he kind of gyrates. I guess maybe similar to the Demogorgon in Stranger Things, how he kind of bobbles around a little bit when you want him to, which is nice, man. Like I like that addition to there, that he's interactive, but he's also standalone. He's standalone theatrical. He moves.
Right.
He's a little chubby man that dances.
And I assume when you hit him too, they can really accentuate that movement to kind of get that feedback with interaction, kinetic satisfaction when the ball hits the skull.
There you go. Cool. Say that again. I want to hear that again.
What's that? Kinetic satisfaction?
Yeah. That's great.
Whatever it takes.
I'm going to start using that. Another thing with that Well Walker is, you've got an entirely different paint scheme on those as well. The same thing with Bicycle Girl underneath the ramp. The zombie inside the barn. You've got that. You've got the fish tank heads. Those are updated, which are awesome. And then they added the two zombie heads down on the slings. Again, kind of similar to Metallica on there with that. Two big things, Ken, that stood out to me, which I love. Like, which was a chief complaint of the original, was when you had, there's a zombie in here. Like, you had this hillbilly, like, walkers, the dead is here.
For the call-outs.
Yeah, for the call-outs. This time, like, we actually have Michael Rooker, who obviously played Merle, which was, I think, a fan favorite for a lot of people of the show. And then we have Denai Guerrilla, like, do you know how to pronounce her name? I can't remember. Nope. But Michonne. Everybody would know her as Michonne. Like, they're your two lead call-outs, which are freaking fantastic. Like, I'm super excited to have that, because I think that was one of the things that obviously, the original was missing, and a lot of people would pirate a little bit of code there to get some, show call-outs in their games, which I may or may not have had that on mine at the time.
So just a quick summary at this point, if you're trying to consider if the LE is worth it for you on this specific title, there are 500 limited editions that'll be out globally, so it's a pretty small number. The LE has a remastered full-color mirrored back glass with the hand-drawn artwork, the interactive cabinet expression lighting system with interior and exterior on the rail, which is pretty cool. The interactive speaker expression lighting system is going to be included. You get the autographed card by John Borg, exclusive full-color cabinet decals, upgraded speaker system with 3-channel amplifier. You get the HD glass, the anti-reflective glass. Shaker motor is going to be included. The exclusive powder-coated armor legs, hinges, and the action button front molding. And then the signed certificate of authenticity. Now, not a topper included in this game, but there is a topper coming. Yeah. And we were told during the meeting that this would be the shortest duration of time between release and accessories becoming available from any game that they've had recently.
I hope it's the fish tank topper again. That was such a hit. That thing was awesome.
And they were talking about those accessories being available, I think, December. Yeah. So the topper is going to be an upgrade. Mm-hmm. For those of you that have a Walking Dead from the original release, I don't know if any of the accessories will be compatible, but I do know, for instance, we were talking about the code being a little bit more enhanced. There will be no upgrade code-wise to bring your old Walking Dead to the new Walking Dead feature set, from what I understood.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
So, you really have to kind of put in perspective. If this is a game that you've loved and that has been in your collection for this long and you're kind of looking to refresh and just get the latest and greatest of what technology and what Stern Pinball can bring to you, I think that's probably a no-brainer. You probably want to upgrade. If you've never had the chance to own a Walking Dead, this is a pretty cool chance for you to kind of get in the upper tier of technology and what the game can offer for you for Walking Dead. So if you're a fan of the series, fan of the game, an existing owner, I think you're in a good spot. I think you're pretty happy with this.
Ken, I think you brought up a great point because, when I was reaching out just after the teaser and I was talking to some people and they're like, yeah, but, I already got a Walking Dead, and we talked to some of our location people. Yeah, I've got a Walking Dead on location. And it's like, yeah, but just exactly everything you said. Like, this is an updated version. This has got, your LCD. It's got the better call outs. You got a better looking playfield. You got more vibrant artwork to draw people in. It's so much about it that kind of trumps that old one that I'm like you, man. Like, even if you've already got one, if you like this game, I do think it's worth the upgrade to this. Like, you're not terribly far off. Upgrade, get the more modern stuff. Get that Spike 3, man. Get the visuals, get the audio, get everything that just this brings.
So with the pricing on this one, we have no price increase from Stern Pinball on the Walking Dead Remastered. The limited edition, $12,999, and the premium edition, $9,699. Limited editions are essentially going on the line here in the next couple weeks. Stern makes pinball machines quickly. All those should be pretty much fulfilled before they get premiums on the line, which will start towards the end of this month. So it's nice because when you get your order in, you're not waiting 6 months. You're not waiting 12 months. You're going to have your game in weeks or a month and a half. That's huge. Yeah.
Game comes out, get your game. Game comes out, get your game.
That's important to me. I like I said, I've said it before. If I get a game order in, I get about 90 days before I start getting a little bit fussy about it. And, in this circumstance, for sure, if I'm in a Walking Dead LE, or probably even a premium, I'm well below that 90-day threshold. So that's great.
Yeah, I like it. I like something because we have to wait so much. We got so many good boutique manufacturers, and they just don't have the ability to create games as fast. And we've seen some really great games recently, but like it is nice to be able to just get a game in a month.
I think we'll close this out here. Official gameplay video coming from Stern Pinball was suggested on November 14th, which is in about 10 days from the time that this comes out. And at this point, again, if you're listening to this and you want to order a new Walking Dead Remastered limited edition or premium, you can go to flippingoutpinball.com, or you can hit up myself at Ken at flippingoutpinball.com. Greg, how can they get you?
Greg at flippingoutpinball.com.
And just to walk you through the process, when you come to us directly, essentially, we're going to help answer any questions that you have that we know of about the game, delivery, the ordering process. With Flippin' Out Pinball, all new Stern Pinball machines ship for free. And honestly, that's a pretty big savings, anywhere between usually $375 and $700. So that's something that we're happy to offer as a benefit through Flippin' Out Pinball. But we will send you an invoice with everything mapped out and a secure link for payment. We make it as easy as possible to purchase a game. And then our customer support, Greg, is before, during, and after the sale. We want to keep you in the Flippin' Out family. We do the best that we can. We have a good time here. We've got a pretty good group, core people that are Flippin' Out family, and we love it. It's a good time.
We're rock stars.
You know what? Everyone's a rock star Flippin' Out. So come on and join the band. The band gets bigger and bigger every single day. We're going to wrap this special edition up of Flippin' Out Pinball Podcast. For Greg Bone, I am Ken Cromwell. And don't forget to take some time out of your day and play some pinball. So long, everybody.